Hello and welcome to week one of your prenatal yoga after loss. Just a very gentle reminder that while yoga is generally considered safe in all trimesters, we are advising that this class is for those who are 14 weeks and over. So my name's Ree. I'm going to be your yoga teacher for the next 6 weeks. And today's class is really about the breath and about finding this sense of peace and calm within. So, our breath is a tool that we have with us all of the time, and used optimally, you are able to use it to stimulate the vagus nerve, the nerve which is responsible for bringing our body into a state of rest and digest. It can help us to downregulate, to calm, and to turn off our gaze from things that are going on externally and really just focus inwards. And being able to do that is, it's amazing and it's a great skill to have in day-to-day life. But stress management is even more important when we're pregnant. There are studies that are out showing that if we are able to manage our stress and our anxieties and worries, they can have a real positive impact on our pregnancy, our labour and birth. And there is some new research out showing that as a mother, if you are able to kind of calm your central nervous system and sit in this place of rest and digest, there can be long-term effects for your baby as well. So the research is very new, but it's emerging that if we have a calm central nervous system, or are able to calm our central nervous system, our babies may be born more predisposed to also being able to do that. Just what a wonderful gift that is to give to our babies. So before we start, you may want to have a cushion. I like to have my hips higher than my knees, especially if you're coming into your third trimester. And you may find it beneficial to have 2 baked bean tins or 2 yoga blocks, just to kind of give the body a little bit more space, but maybe you see how you go. Okay, enough talking, I think. So, finding yourself in a comfortable seated pose. We're going to bring our hands to baby, and then gently close down the eyes. And as always, we're going to begin by taking 3 conscious breaths together. So let's inhale deeply through the nose. Open the mouth, really sigh. Inhale. Open the mouth, sigh. One more inhale. And then let's just come back to our natural breath. So allowing the air to enter in through the nose. And then gently through parted lips, exhaling out the mouth. Noticing perhaps how the breath feels. Perhaps noticing if there are areas where the breath sticks, or perhaps there feels like bits of tightness. Breathing a little bit deeper into those areas. And perhaps if this breath is coming quite naturally to you, you begin to extend your exhale. So maybe breathing in for a count of, say, 3 or 4. And then exhaling perhaps for a count of 6 or 8, or whatever feels comfortable in your body. Making sure that we're not adding any tension to the body. So allow the shoulders to hang, fall heavy down the back. The tongue is away from the roof of the mouth and the jaw is nice and soft. And so by using this extended exhale, we are stimulating the vagus nerve, the nerve responsible for our central nervous system, for bringing us into a state of rest and digest. So quite literally switching gears, down regulating and finding, hopefully, a sense of calm. And as we take our final few moments here, perhaps you add a little bit of visualization. So maybe on your inhale, you envisage the air traveling deep down towards baby, delivering all of this oxygen, nutrients. And on your exhale, visualizing this sense of grounding, safety, security, as maybe you're hugging gently baby in and up. Okay, let's take a final breath here. And then when you're ready, let's gently blink the eyes open and release the hands. Okay, so well, there is the option to stay seated like this, or we are going to come into what we call hero's pose. So you either want your block or a cushion. We come onto our knees, bring the block or cushion in between our shins, and then just come and sit the bum back down. You want to make sure that if you're in this position, your toes are pointing straight backwards. We don't want them out like this. So everything is tucked in. And if at any point this feels uncomfortable, you can always switch back to the cross-legged position. You may find that slightly higher is more comfortable, depending on where you're at in your pregnancy. But wherever we are, we're going to bring the hands up in front of us, link the thumbs, and then there's this sensation of the thumbs pulling away from each other. So when you pull the thumbs away from each other, you feel this engagement through the upper back. It's almost like your inner elbows are trying to turn towards and face each other. It's a really active pose. Arms are reaching up and forward. There's a stretch across the upper back, openness through the chest. And we're going to stay here for 3 breaths. So as we inhale, feel this length through the spine, nice and tall. And as you exhale, draw baby in and up. Slight hug of the abdominals to support the lower back. Inhaling, find this length. And exhaling, we find this sense of grounding. Final breath. This is a really strong pose on the arms. And as you exhale, release the thumbs and allow that right hand to come and find behind your sacrum, and left hand either coming to left knee or to right knee. So it's a really, really gentle twist. We're not compressing, we're not forcing. It's a gentle articulation of the spine. If you are more pregnant, you may find that having left hand to left knee is more comfortable. And as we sit here and breathe, use the breath to really focus you in this moment. Okay, gently unravel using what's left of our core muscles. We're going to take the hands back up, link the thumbs in the opposite direction. Find that pull as the thumbs pull against each other. Feel the openness across the back of the neck, the sensation of your inner elbows trying to look towards each other. Everything is super, super active. Draw baby gently in and up, so we're protecting our lower back. And we take our 3 breaths here. So we're using that extended exhale to really help to keep us grounded, even as the sensations in our body grow. Perhaps noticing that our heart rate is rising just from this simple movement. Final breath. And then let's release the thumbs, gently articulating through the spine. So we're not using our hands to pull us round. It's our core muscles which steer us to look over towards that left knee. Left hand comes somewhere behind our bum. And then right hand either falls onto left knee or maybe onto right knee. Again, there's no compression around baby. It should be a really gentle articulation of the spine. No discomfort, no pain. Just bringing a bit of space and movement into an area which often can become so frozen when we're pregnant. And as we're exhaling, really allowing those shoulders to feel heavy, melting down our back. Okay, and then gently we come back through to center. Okay, we're going to come off our cushion or block and come and find ourselves in all fours. I'm going to turn around this way so I don't have my plant in my face. So we're coming to find all fours. So if we have any problems with our wrist, then you would be coming onto your fists here. If not, you may find it more stable to come onto your palms. You want your shoulders over your wrists, hips are over the knees. And as we inhale, we press the shins into the earth, keep the back nice and flat, spine is really nice and long. And then as we exhale, we draw baby up towards us, round through the upper back, gaze towards baby. So inhale, flat back, pressing the shins into the earth, so it's still an active pose. And exhale, we round. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, round. Now there's the option to continue with this version of your cat and cow, or perhaps you want a bit more of a fluid movement. Perhaps your body just needs a little bit more movement, a bit more stretching, a bit more release. So you could maybe start coming into some circles or rocks backwards and forwards, really involving the hips, the shoulders, the head, the neck, moving intuitively. Remembering if you've gone in one direction, to take the other. Okay, and then let's come find stillness again. We bring the knees to touch and send the toes just so that they're off your yoga mat. So the toes are wider than the hips. And we're going to come through just a few rocks backwards and forwards. Now, I always think that this move feels a little bit clunky, but it is strengthening and lengthening through the pelvic floor. So we obviously do a lot of work on trying to tone up our pelvic floor, but when it comes to labour, it's really important that we are also able to lengthen it to allow baby to pass through. So taking these rocks backwards and forwards, lengthening into the muscles of the pelvic floor. Okay, and then let's bring everything back into neutral, hips under, sorry, knees under hips. And then let's just walk the bum back to the heels and give those wrists a little bit of a rotate. Okay. Walk the hands forward, back into all fours, and we're going to come into our lunge. So let's send that right foot to the back of the mat. Draw baby in and up as you exhale, and either step right foot to the outside edge of right hand, or if that's not available, perhaps you help guide that right foot forward. Allow the right hand to find right thigh. Again, draw baby in and up. Find some stability as we exhale. We press through that right heel, coming up into our lunge. Check your alignment here. You want that right ankle underneath right knee. You want left hip on top of left knee. And the sensation that both hips are facing in the same direction. So that right hip might ever so slightly be pulling back. That left hip might ever so slightly be pulling forward, just to get that alignment. Once we've arrived, we inhale. We're going to come through hooking our thumbs again. So hook the thumbs together, using either that back shin or that back toe to stabilize. Always have a wall nearby. And again, we're going to take 3 breaths here. So pulling the arms up and away, thumbs are engaged, pulling away from each other. Draw baby in and up, and perhaps for our final 2 breaths, we're starting to feel the heart rate rising, the heat in our body growing. Use that extended exhale to calm your central nervous system. Okay, and then let's just release the hands onto the hips. Check in. See how we're feeling. And then we're going to bring the left hand, reach it up and forward, and all the way towards the back of the mat. So we're not rotating through the body here. We're keeping the body really nice and still. The hips are facing forward. It's just a rotation through that shoulder joint. So you can probably notice that I'm not managing to get a full open circle. My left arm kind of starts to stick and go out to the side. That's absolutely fine. We're moving however feels good for us. Just opening into the shoulder joints, creating space in the chest. Last breath here. Really nice. And then let's come down. Hands come to the earth, maybe heel toeing that right foot slightly further towards the edge of the mat. Now, this is where you may want to get your blocks or your baked bean tins if you're finding that you don't have that much space. And we're going to stay in this lizard pose for 5 breaths. So there's the option here to stay static, or many pregnant women feel that actually more of a fluid motion feels or better. So we could come into some hip circles, or maybe you're rocking backwards and forwards. But just really opening into that right hip. Again, using that breath, that extended exhale to keep us in the present, even if sensations in our body are arising. Obviously, we don't want pain or discomfort, but sometimes stretching can be, something that we turn away from, especially into the hips. Really big energy centers, they hold a lot of emotion. So using our breath here to support us as we move. Okay. Come find stillness. And then we send that right knee back to meet left. Come off blocks. And there's the option here to come into either child's pose. So sending the knees wide, bum comes back to heels, and head maybe comes to the earth or onto a cushion. There's the option of coming into your downward facing dog if you have a yoga practice and are feeling a little bit more energetic today. Or as always, you can come and sit bum on heels, hands towards baby. But wherever you are, let's take a breath together. Let's inhale through the nose, feel this expansiveness across the back body, and then exhale. We sigh. So as we sit here in this moment of rest, just noticing how our body feels. Perhaps the breath is moving a little easier through the body. Perhaps there's a little bit of heat building. And perhaps our heart rate is a little higher. Our heart rate that is our baby's lullaby. Okay. Let's release the hands and come and take the other side. So we come back into all fours. This time we're coming to step the left foot forward, so send the left foot towards the back of the mat, draw baby in and up. As we exhale, we step, glide, help that left foot to the outside edge of left hand. Draw baby in and up, allow the left hand to find left thigh. And then once you've got your balance, you're going to exhale, press through that left heel. We come and rise into our lunge. Finding that alignment, we inhale, take the opposite hook of thumbs as we reach the hands high to the sky. And we breathe. Perhaps noticing that sticking with the breath really allows us to have some element of control with how our body is feeling. Yes, the heart rate is still rising. Yes, there's still heat building, but our perception of it how comfortable we are to stick with it can really be dictated by the breath. Let's take a final breath. And then release the hands down onto the hips. Check in with your body. See how you're feeling. See how baby is feeling. This is super strong on the legs. We have one tiny little move here before we come down towards our lizard. Okay, when we're ready, we reach that right arm forward, up, and then circle it to the back of the mat, however that looks, remembering that we're not twisting through the torso, it's just a rotation through the shoulder joint. So inhaling as we reach forward, remembering that we're using the breath to draw baby in and up as we reach back on the exhale. Final breath. And then I think let's come down to lizard. So heel toe, that left foot slightly wider so that the hands can come down onto the earth or maybe your blocks. And then again, option to stay here in your more static pose or to come and move more fluidly. It's said that the feminine energy is incredibly fluid, creative, loves movement. And I personally find that even more so when I am pregnant. Remembering if you've gone in one direction, to take the other. And then come find stillness. We're going to step that left foot knee to meet right and come off your blocks. Come and find your choice of pose. So maybe you're in your downward facing dog, perhaps you're in child's pose, perhaps you're sitting with bum to heels. We're going to stay here for a little bit longer. So maybe coming into a rest pose rather than downward facing dog. But of course, it's your body. So go with where you need to go today. So we have been focusing on using the breath as a tool to keep us feeling a sense of calm, even when perhaps there are sensations in our body which feel like they're working a little bit harder. And this extended exhale is a really useful tool in day-to-day life, but also in labor. You know, whether that be a vaginal labor, a C-section, just having that ability to remain within your body with your breath, calming the central nervous system. And knowing that as we do, we are also very likely gifting our baby with a more regulated, calm central nervous system. Okay. Let's gently release the hands. Blink the eyes open. Come onto our bums. Send our feet out in front of you, hands, they come behind the bum, and then just allow the hips to rock from side to side. Hopefully you don't have a wall that is limiting you. Okay. Let's release the legs out in front of us. Give them a nice wiggle, maybe shake through the hands, rotate the wrists, the ankles. And then I think let's come and find ourselves in our final pose. We're going to come and bring the soles of the feet to touch. Again, you may find that actually sitting with the hips a little bit higher than the knees allows you to get more of a stretch and feels more comfortable. If you're finding that you are arching or kind of leaning backwards, you can always bring the hands behind you to support a nice straight back, or perhaps the hands come onto the shins. The option to intensify the pose by bringing the feet closer to the groin, having a more gentle approach, feet further away. But just coming to find whichever moment feels right in your body. And again, just checking in, seeing how your body feels in comparison to how it felt when we started today's class. How does your mind feel? Perhaps noticing that some tension has melted away. Those shoulders are staying further down the back. Maybe the tongue is resting on the floor of the mouth rather than stuck up on the roof. Okay, and then when you're ready, let's gently bring the hands to the outside edge of the knees. Draw the knees up, and then let's come off your block or cushion and come and find yourselves in a comfortable pose for Shavasana, our final rest pose. So for those of us who are later on in our pregnancy, that would be lying on our left side. If you're still kind of in your first trimester, I think it's up to 20 weeks, you can lay on your back if that is comfortable. But we recommend left if you can. Maybe popping a prop or a cushion between the legs and just coming to find wherever is comfortable for you, or perhaps you're seated. Again, wherever feels good in your body. And once you've arrived, you close down the eyes and just allow any manipulation of the breath to go, let it go. So we have been working with the breath. And for some of us, this will have come really, really naturally. For others, it may be something that we want to practice. But wherever you are on that spectrum, we have practiced enough. So just allow the body to be held by the earth. And then come into this moment of deep relaxation and peace. So please feel free to stay in your relaxation. Or if you're wanting to come out, then perhaps you begin to breathe a little deeper down towards baby. Perhaps you begin to breathe a little bit of movement into the fingers and the toes. Perhaps you begin to breathe some movement into the arms and legs. And then maybe you gently make your way up into a comfortable seated pose. And as always, we will close the class with a conscious breath together. So let's inhale through the nose, open the mouth, really sigh. Bring your hands, prayer, heart center, bow your head to your hands. And then when you're ready, let's release the hands and blink the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you for joining, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.